Shalom. Call Halam La Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem HaKadosh. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and sincerity. They steered us well and they rule well. Salutations to the hopeful elect. May the blessing of election be upon your house. This is the brother Zion coming at you with another lesson to feed the lambs through the Holy Spirit. Haracha'a Kodash. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. In this lesson, the final warnings, all of that has been going out, man. All right. This song that we have been singing, all right, is gonna come to a end with the famine of the word. Okay. That is when the prophets will be removed off of the streets. Okay, and all hell is going to utterly break loose. Okay, you can see Jacob's trouble brewing. You know, it's going to happen gradually. You know what I'm saying? And you see it now with people just losing their damn minds. People are so-called crashing out. You know, people will have their own interior motives. All right, and people's true colors are going to show in the time of Jacob's trouble. All right, this is when our Lord Yahweh Shema Shai is going to turn their back on this place. All right. And I'm telling you, man, the Lord going to let everything just happen, you know, and a lot of judgment is going to be out, you know, spoken about, you know, throughout the scriptures, but mainly in Jeremiah, the 30th chapter. All right. Really, you know what I'm saying? From the top on down, really, you know, it's going into Jacob's trouble, you know, and also in Daniel, you know, it is spoken about a time that Israel haven't seen, man. You know, I mean, you can't prepare for, you know, something that never happened. You know, it's gonna happen, but it haven't happened before, you know. It's going to be way, way worse than 70 AD. Like way worse. Like robot dog worse. AI robot worse. You know, DARPA worse. You know, it's going to be, you know, weapons and technology that we haven't seen. You know, it's going to be devastating, man. You know, and these warnings been going out. You know, and all of these reproofs have been going out. And a lot of Jakes have been effing off their grace period. They're not applying the scriptures. They're not applying what is given to them. You know, especially if you know better, you got to do better. You know, otherwise, Yahweh Shema Shai will, in fact, remove you from the body. You know. If you got a pinky toe or like a leg that's not working, what do a doctor do? He'll amputate it. You know? But also the scriptures go into that it's better to come into the truth main, you know? But we got Ezekiel 3:26. And I will make thy tongue cleave to the roof of thy mouth, that thou shalt be dumb. All right? Dumb means you're going to be silent. You're not going to say nothing. You know, you're going to have a lot of people that's going to be wanting answers, you know what I'm saying, to their questions. And we're not going to be there to give you those answers to your questions. Because you had the opportunity to learn during the grace period, but you effed it off, you know. So what Yahweh Shema Shai going to do? He's going to match you with that exact same energy. You know, even with not getting right behind closed doors, you know, because it's all about building the relationship with Yahweh Shema Shai, you know. And if you are a useless individual in this truth, you're not doing nothing. You're just sitting on your talents. You know what I'm saying? The scriptures go into having faint hands. You know, if you have faint hands, that means you're not really doing nothing. You know, the Lord will remove you, man. You know, if you're not doing nothing proactive in your walk, okay, to be better, then the Lord gonna remove you from the body. He gonna amputate you, man. You know, that's scary. You know, so we have to learn from others' mistakes, all right? And that's really to put fear on you, all right? And you will be shown of what not to do, man. You know, we got to be on eggshells. This is a straight gate, you know? Because in a minute, it's going to be the final exam. All right? It's going to be the final exam. Are you going to take the MOTB or not? And you're going to have a lot of people that's going to take the MOTB willingly because they're already conditioned to do tap pay and to put their phone on the little green little dot. You know? Come on, man. They're already conditioned to do that. So they're going to be second nature. Like 2/3 is going to be second nature, man. Especially if it's about getting something free. Oh, man. They're going to be like little mice on one block of cheese, man. You know? Not even knowing that they mercy and all of that they really, you know, they discarded their mercy. You know, it's like they didn't want it. You know, because they so fixated on what's in front of them, and that's Babylon, versus what's beyond them. All right, which is a crown. But somebody has to play that role, so to speak, in this movie. All right. Yahweh Shema Shah is the author. All right. And you know what I'm saying, your role in this, you know, like your role in this script, okay, is based on what the author puts in your, you know what I'm saying, in your, you know, like in your lot, man. This is how you're going to act. This is what you're going to do. And a lot of Israelites have been put to perverse spirits, man. You know? So in that day, we're not going to be able to reprove you, correct you. That's why we got the brotherhood now. That's why you can't take the brotherhood for granted. You can't be too familiar. You know, because, you know what I'm saying, you will offend. You know? You need to, you know, just pump your brakes, man. You know? That thou shalt be dumb and shall not be to them a reprover, for they are a rebellious house. And Jake is rebellious by nature. You know, you tell Jake one thing, Jake just has to do the opposite because that's just Jake. Jake just have to do the opposite. You know. And you're going to have a lot of those same Jakes that's all tough as hell when the world is so-called intact. You know what I'm saying? They all tough and everything. But the Lord going to have them crying. Matter of fact, hold on. Jeremiah 30. Let's go to verse 5. I'll go to verse 4. Jeremiah 30 and 4. And these are the words that the Lord spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah. For thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Shema Washai, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. You hear that? This gonna be the time of Jacob's trouble. All right. It ain't gonna be no time where people gonna be giving high fives and having a good old time. Hell nah, man. It's gonna be scary, man. It's gonna be teeth of wild beasts, you know, because you know they gonna pop the lock on them zoos now. You know, you gonna have somebody that's gonna do it. You know, and you gonna have a pack of lions running down your local neighborhood, or you gotta hunker down in the house. It's a big ass gorilla in there eating a bell pepper, and you know, you either gonna hunker down in this house with this big ass gorilla, or you gonna be out there with the troops. Or this house may have apparitions in it with animals and apparitions, and you know, all in the damn house. You either gonna deal with that inside of there for the night, or you gonna be outside dealing with all that and the teeth of wild beasts and all of that. You may just ran from a mountain lion or something, and you just ran into this house and they got apparitions in it. It's gonna, man, it's gonna be some stuff, man. Cannibalism coming back, all that, all of it, man. You know, all of it. Yahweh Shema Shai is going to throw the kitchen sink and completely turn his back on this place and let wickedness take over. And a lot of people not going to make it to the MOTB. A lot of people not going to make it. They're not even going to make it to the MOTB. You know? You ever seen how these little movies be, like them zombie apocalypse movies, for real, for real? If you go, you know, and just watch how all hell break loose, there's always some little bit of chatter and a little bit of confusion, and then all of a sudden somebody get to running, and then they running, and this person punched this person, and this person got ran over, and this person got thrown on a windshield, this person fell off a building. You like, what the hell? And then the person just looking around like, oh man, what's going on? And then all of a sudden a big ass truck coming their way, they jump out of the way. You know, it's just, it's gonna be crazy, man. You know? And the Lord is gonna have prophecy meet everyone. Everybody gonna have their little 1v1 with prophecy. Everybody, even the hopeful elect. But the Lord gonna have the hopeful elect out of the way. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be in the midst of it, but not be taken by it though. You know? All right, but that death by pain is going to them to the uncertains, to the 2/3. You know what I'm saying? That death by pain. You know, because if you you know, have a heart that is fashioned onto good ground, all right, that means that wisdom can dwell inside of you. You understand? But if you're a proud individual, all right, and if you have a malicious soul, wisdom will never enter into that individual. You know, there's no way. And 2/3 of our people are most definitely malicious and rebellious. Okay? And the Lord looks at rebellion, all right, like witchcraft. You know? All right? You are considered a witch. And witches get burned with fire. You know, that's in the law, man. All right? Verse 6, it say, ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. All right? So, you know, in the NLT, it say, do men give birth to babies? That's a rhetorical question, you know? Because he see men on the ground crying in the fetal position, asking for their mama. Crying. Bugging out. Screaming. Don't know what to do. Perplexed. No way out. Nowhere to go. Uncertain. You know. Faint-hearted. Bugging out. Verse 6. Ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. through. That's why I said, man, a lot of people not gonna make it to the MOTB, man. You gonna have people that's gonna drop dead just because all hell broke loose. For real. I'm talking about they just gonna faint like, just dead. I'm talking about had a whole heart attack. Can't even take it. They just see everything just going crazy and they have a heart attack. Betty is the big one. Out of there. For real. You know? And second Ezra's, that vividly goes into, man, so descriptive of what's really gonna happen, man. All right? Sedition of men. You know, you already see that now. Uproars of the people. All that's gonna be, and you know, all that's gonna be heightened. You know, that's why they pick and choosing little stories, and they trying to throw little shots at this RACEWAR, man. You know, they keep throwing shots at it. You know, but you got the sedition of men, which is uproars of the people. You know, they are not going to regard their kings nor princes, which is their government and their local officials. You know, they're going to, you know, in the course of their actions shall stand in their power, man. So, hey, man, they're going to, you know, first one draw, lay the law. That's how it's going to be. First one draw, lay the law. You see how they did the Capitol or whatever building that was. I think it was the Capitol. When they stormed that one and dudes are sitting down with their little hunting rifles and a 1911 feet up, got a cigar, you know, one motherfucker found some brandy. You know, I'm like, man, they just making themselves at home in this mug, you know, even though a lot of those paid actors and they was let in, but that's another story. I ain't gonna talk about it. But it's verse 7, alas, for the day is great, so that none is like it. You hear that? There's none in like it. This time of terror is none like it. You know, so how can you prepare for it? You can't. So all of those bug out bags and all of those, you know, MREs and all of that, only thing you doing is stockpiling that for somebody else. You know, it's alas, for the day is great. So that none is like it. It is even in the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Who? The elect. All right. The elect gonna be saved out of it. All right. Jacob's trouble is for the 2/3. It ain't for the hopeful elect. The hopeful elect got to be around it. You know what I'm saying? In the midst of it, but they not gonna be taken by it. That's why we trying to make sure our you know, personal relationship is tight with Yahweh Shema Shah, and that start with fearing, man. Fearing, because fearing is the beginning of everything. Fearing is the beginning of wisdom. All right, you gotta fear Yahweh Shema Shah and be obedient second. You know, you gotta have faith. You gotta believe, but you gotta be obedient. You don't want to be a rebellious Negro, okay? A rebellious Negro get cut off. And we see it time and time again, man. For real. You know? So all the vices and things that you may have going through, you know, even myself, you know, we are in captivity. You know, we got to tighten that up. Because Yahweh Shema Shah not playing. Especially in the time of Jacob's trouble, man. You know, he gonna throw the kitchen sink at this place, and he just gonna be throwing judgment like how Oprah was giving them motherfuckers cars. He gonna be throwing judgment like that. You know? For real. All right, so we'll just end out with Amos 8 and 11. We got Amos chapter 8 and verse 11. It reads, behold, the days come, saith the Lord power, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right. See, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai gonna send you a famine of the word, man. You're not gonna get this spiritual food and this living water, man. You know, you're gonna be hungry. You know, you're gonna be famished and parched for your answers. Okay? Because you had the opportunity to learn, all right, when y'all was walking past the camp and y'all blowing smoke in our face and shit. You know, blowing all them stinking ass cigarettes in our fucking face and shit, man. You know, laughing and doing all this other shit like we weak or something. Like, come on, stop playing. You know? Okay, so on this day, all right, we gonna be fed and you gonna be skinny. You know, because you can't stunt when you hungry. You know, they ribs gonna be, man, you gonna be seeing them ribs. You know, they gonna be looking like them feed the children off the 80 cents a day or 20 cents a day or something. Eyes all sunk in with the alien head, with the alien head. Let me stop, man, because the Lord is judging, you know, Cush, man. The Lord is judging the hell out of Cush. You know, call all y'all by Shema Shai. But Amos 8:11. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord power, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. All right, they shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord and shall not find it, man. All right, they gonna be looking for all the camp. Like, hey, yo, man, yeah, man, like where that camp was at? I think they was down there they was over there by the square, or you know, they was by the park, or they was by that one. And then they gonna go over there, and then those brothers not gonna be over there. And they gonna be like, well, I think they was over here. And then they gonna run into IUIC. And they gonna run into the other camps that's still gonna be out there prophesying with all hell break loose. Because that ain't far-fetched to have these other, you know, these bugged out Israelites that's like those little offshoot little t-shirt camps. They the type to still be out prophesying when all hell break loose and people out really, you know, getting busy, and they out with a bullhorn still talking. And then they get ran over by a damn fire truck or something. Man. Anyway, and they shall wander from sea to sea, from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord and shall not find it. You hear that? So they're going to be thirsting, all right, and hungry for the words of Yahweh Shema Shai, but it's going to be too late, you know, because they was out playing, you know, they was out, you know, tarrying, they was out prolonging, you know, they thinking they got everything, so they think they already saved. You know how Jake be saying, you know, I'm blessed and highly favored. No, you ain't. No, you ain't. You finna be burnt and full of smoke. You know? Because you just ate a pork chop sandwich with fucking mayo and cheese on it. With damn white bread with the damn bunny on it. That enriched bullshit, man. Or you had some blue bonnet bread with it. You know? Fucking Jake. And now all of a sudden, they want to hear the words of Yahweh Shema Shai when they seen a family member get, you know, sent to the damn throne right before their very eyes. Now all of a sudden, they trying to figure out what's going on. Like, nah. The Lord matched you with your energy. That's all Yahweh Shema Shai gonna do in that day. He just gonna match you with your energy. Because the Lord gonna be like, well, you put that more then you know what I'm saying, you know, that vice or that issue or that hindrance, whatever name you want to put on it, you know, basically is a hindrance. If you know, if you didn't address it, the Lord gonna look at it like you chose that over me, and he gonna deal with you. He gonna come see about you. You know? So you're gonna have a lot of 2/3 Jakes. Okay? That's gonna get visited in that day with the same energy they gave Yahweh Shema Shai. You know, they didn't care. So why would the Lord care about that individual? You know? They literally was not trying to get mercy. They were, because they so fixated on the world. You know? But anyway, you know what I'm saying, the point been made. Alright. There's gonna be a point in time where Jake gonna have that tongue cleave to their roof of their mouth, and they're gonna be dumb. You know, which is silent. We're not gonna say anything. We're not gonna be a reproofer. We're not gonna say none of that. Nothing to none of these niggas, man. You know? We just, hey man, figure it out. You know? Alright? You gonna know real soon who was the foolish versions and who was the wise versions. You know? And these gonna be the same individuals that's gonna be searching to and fro, looking for those brothers that they was walking past laughing at. And they gonna be like, damn, man, y'all had it right, man. Damn, man. I gotta find them, man. And those brothers ain't gonna be nowhere to be found. And if they do stumble across the brother, he ain't gonna say nothing to him, because the Lord gonna put the spirit on the brother not to say nothing. You know? For real. So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give infinite honors, praises, and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect. We on the next one. Abarat Tazah. Shalom.